Maybe I've done enough, and your golden child grew up. Maybe this trophy isn't real love, and with or without it, I'm good enough. Maybe I've done enough, finally catching up. For the first time I see an image of my brokenness, utterly worthy of love. Maybe I've done enough. I'm slowly learning how to break this spell, and I finally see myself. To let my heart feel what it feels. Gold, silver, bonds hold no value here, where work and rest are equally revered. I only want what's real. I set aside the highlight with an asterisk, worthy of love anyway. I had the most vivid dream. My feet left the ground. I was floating to heaven, but I could only
changes. At one time, we may need very individualistic and aggressive people. At another time, we may need very cooperative, team-working people. At another time, we may need people who are full of interest in dexterous manipulation of the external world. At another time, we may need people who explore into their own psychology and are introspective. There is no knowing, but the more varieties and the more skills we have, obviously, the better. So you see here again, the problem comes out in genetics. We do not really know how to interfere with the way the world is. The way the world actually is an enormously complex, interrelated organism. Complex, interrelated organism. The more varieties and the more skills we have, obviously, who explore into their own psychologies, interrelated organism, who explore into their own psychology, the more skills we have. Very
afternoon. We're so happy that all of you are here. We would love to hear what you thought of the performance this afternoon. So the dancers will line up here in front of the stage. You can go say hi to them. You can tell them what you loved about the show. And also we have a little questionnaire on that program, ReadyCityDanceCompany.com/program, that says, let us know what you thought about this show. We would love to hear. And also, if you love this, if you wouldn't mind sharing the word, because we have another performance today at 7 p.m. and we would love to just for every seat to be filled, because we want to share with people what Reading is capable of here at the Cascade Theater. So thank you, Cascade Theater. And thank you all for coming. And we would love for you to also stay up to date, so we have a couple of sign-up sheets in the back as well, where you can fill in your email, or you can follow us at Ready City Dance Company on Instagram and on Facebook. So thank you all, and have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. One other surprise, I already told you this at the beginning, but they're also going to do a Q&A after you said hi to them. They will all be back on stage and you can ask them any questions. And also if you have anything you want to share with them, you can, please join us 10 minutes after the show for the Q&A. Thank you. front rows. So again, if you have any questions for them or any observations that you'd like to share, we ask you to come to the first few rows so we can actually hear you. And after the Q&A, you'll have some more time for hugs and flowers and all those fun things. All right. Dancers are getting ready to answer your questions. Already start thinking about what you want to ask them. And then you can actually shout it out. Use your theater voice so they can hear it. All right, are you guys ready? Yeah? All right, so whoever wants to ask a question, shout it out.
I have a question. Of the 9 primary dancers, how many of those roles were performed by somebody of that type? And would any of them be willing to share something that they learned about themselves through the preparation and performance of that role?
Okay, so fun. So if you're not an Enneagram geek, like, don't feel bad about that. I accidentally became a geek about it this year. It wasn't a plan of mine. So this was kind of my idea about the Enneagram thing. So if you're interested, go on the program and learn. But as far as roles, I think 5 of us or 6 of us. 7 of us were authentically, wow, I should know this, were our roles. And 2 had to switch because we had an overlap. So numbers. But we're not going to give it away. We want to hear what your guesses are first. That's the whole point. Would any one of us like to share about our process? Jedediah, of course.
Yeah, so when I first heard of the Enneagram, I was like, what? We're gonna do that? Okay, I'll give it a try. And then as I started to actually read and learn about what the Enneagram was about, I discovered some amazing self-discovery tools. I feel like I can't get too much into it without giving away my particular number. I don't know.
Want to guess what Jedi was?
Yeah, let's do that out of the way. Can you guess?
We got a 5 over here. We got a lot. Ding, 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 don't get a high 5.
Ding, 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 you win. It's an 8. I have a very strong 8. Yeah, so the journey of discovering my Enneagram type was a little bit involved because reading up on all the types, who they are, what they are. At first I felt like it was like reading a horoscope. I'm like, oh yeah, I can see myself in there, I can see myself in there, I can see myself in there, I can see myself, no, not that one, but that one too, that, okay, yeah, I can see myself in all of these. So what the heck, right? And then I took a couple of different tests, different things, and read more about it. And I kind of honed in that 8 was the one that was most true to me. And I started reading about their desires and wants. And like the 2 is wants to love people, and the 3 wants to excel, and the 4 wants to be an individual. 8 wants control. I was like, that doesn't feel good. It's like, and so there was this wonderful process of unpacking what that meant and what I had done with that, because all of the messages of our ego, right? Our super ego, all the things that they tell us that we want, that will make us happy, it's all a lie. So even for the two, they're loving someone or being loved. I'm sorry. But like, my point was, I discovered reading these things and going into it that it wasn't a broken part of me. It was just, because it wasn't me. It was a personality trait. And so discovering freedom outside of my personality, that I'm not bound by this, noticing default patterns, and then how I can use it as a tool to really find more freedom for myself and other people. That was way too long, but that's it.
Let's have Lisa share about her process. Can they guess my number first? I was probably the most obvious one. I would say a lot of my process actually happened before we started the show. At the beginning, I think in September, I bumped real hard into this little unhealthy need that I had to help people and find a little bit of my identity in it, and became a pastor here and realized that if I don't deal with that real quick, I'm gonna be burned out real quick. And so a lot of my September, October, November process was learning how to not find my worth in being needed or helping out or being people's savior. So that actually was a process that happened before we started this show. So that in this show, I feel I got to dance out and perform out what I've learned in my personal process. So if you see the two duets that I dance, the first one is that deep need of, I need to connect to you, you need my help, I need to help you, I need to help you. It's his journey, but it's also my journey. And the second duet, I get to be taken care of, because a lot of the two is learning how to take care of myself, acknowledge my needs, and be taken care of. So it was a really beautiful process before we started this show.
I think just on a movement level, when we were doing our duet, first of all, do you want to guess my number? 3, also. I don't like to perform, and life shouldn't be a musical. It absolutely should. Cue the piano, cue the spotlight. We need a musical number right here to distract us from what's really going on, right? But I think just movement-wise, and as far as creating, like, how do we take what we learned about the Enneagram and make it into movement, there was an interesting process just actually trusting Lisa. Like, most of it, she's partnering me. So we tried to make it where she was, like, I'm falling into her arms. And so for a guy who was dancing since he was 8 years old, always lifting women, I was like, oh, this is actually hard for me to relax and not try to help.
That scene stood out actually when you fell into her arms. I was like, that's, I've never seen that.
Because she's so strong, capable.
I do want to add, it's real. Like our mindsets actually affect our neurological systems, our muscles, the response in our bodies. And so when I first did partnering with you, Nathan, like in San Francisco 1.5 years or 2 or something ago, I don't know. I did know, I was like, oh, he has never been able to fall into someone else. He always has to be the strong one. So in all the moments when we were working together doing partnering, he was always like ready, like in that sort of ready grunt type of stance. And we do that naturally in whether it's our communication style or our physical style, right? So
And I've grown a lot since last year.
he's grown a lot since last year. All right. Did that answer your question? Do we have another one? We got the hoodie with the ears. No, JK. I see a hand. Ooh, guts.
It's called a sear wheel. It's spelled C-Y-R.
C-Y-R.
Sear wheel.
His name is Cedric.
His name's Cedric, I named him.
Okay. Just like the actual live music with that was like, I didn't know how to talk or think or move. I just forgot how to breathe. It was really good. But was that the 4 or? So I'm a 4 with a 5. And so I guess the way I saw it was like very like intimate and romantic, like how you were interacting with it and like being a part of it and then being away from it and then enjoying watching it and then coming back to it. So I don't even know if it was a number, but Casey's also a 4 and we were both not breathing and crying. So I was just wondering.
Do you?
Any other guesses on
Any other guesses on that? 9? You're correct. 9. So 9 is the peacemaker. That's my goal. It's like I want to bring peace. What's a solution to this chaos that's unfolding before me? And so that's it. It's like this thing that brings closure and peace, and we can understand each other and we can get along, I guess. And that's in my mind. I'll just leave it at that.
A 2?
Okay.
Lisa was a 2, the helper. I think one thing about David's character is, and kind of as I was learning the Enneagram, that there's levels of health. And I think David kind of represents, in a way, the most healthy person to begin the show, and even the first person to use the tool of the Enneagram to find out more who he is. In real life, too. No, I'm just kidding. Never mind. No, I think that he kind of, represents the healthiest person at first, and then we all discover a little bit more that, oh, we're not confined to these personalities. So I think that's probably why it's a little bit more, I don't know, not confusing, but he kind of operates a lot in each of our worlds and kind of like wakes us up to who we really are.
I will just add that David, this is his first year with us, and he is extremely someone who brings harmony and peace. He's constantly like, I don't know, just this stable guy. So, and then the 9 is known to be the crown of the Enneagram, and the Enneagram is in the shape of a circle. So there you have that. Whoa! All the secrets. I saw you had a hand.
And he's single.
Woo! Did you want to?
My question is, I don't know if I had to ask it, but when you had 2 people in a scene, 2 people working together, was that supposed to be one number, or was it a number working with another number? Or, so when the back person in the back corner was you in a bed, she was in a box, and you could pull her out of the box. I didn't know if you were a part of her and her other side of her, or if you were completely separate, trying to save her, or if you were being you and she was being her. That's a good question.
Yeah, so it was,
Can you repeat the question a little bit?
oh yeah, so she was wondering if the scenes are one number or if there is a relationship between 2 numbers. And it is a relationship between 2. So we wanted to play with like going from unhealth to health with those 2 numbers and how they interact with each other, which was a really interesting dynamic for us.
So powerful.
Thank you. Yeah.
You were so determined to go back into your...
I really wanted to be in that box. But I got out, so it's good. Can you guys? Yeah, so a 4 is known as the romantic or the individualist. We have a desire to be really unique, and tend to like kind of recluse and find a lot of solace and solitude, and that can get unhealthy, but it also can be really beautiful because we love rest, and we bring other people into rest. So my idea with the box is I'm stuck what it was like, you're in a bird cage. So I'm stuck in this bird cage, I can't get out. Like I'm looking through a little hole and trying to see the people outside of me, but I'm still like so internal and so deep in my emotions and like, yeah. So for a 4, it's like you can't get out of your emotions. And I was trying to represent that place.
And we also are the Enneagram type that tends to journal a lot, so that was what the papers were for, just wanting to get emotions out. And I was trying to kind of expose them and felt rejected. And so that was kind of my process with that. Did that answer that?
Okay. I think that's all the time we have for questions. So I'm just gonna give a little, is anyone desperate? I don't know what time it is. Yes. Erica, you win, but we gotta keep it quick.
It was extremely anointed. I was not surprised. I was so surprised by the anointing, and obviously very gifted. Can you please tell us how you cultivated the anointing in the studio? On stage, you look like you're extremely harmonious, and that you've never had a disagreement in the studio. Is that how it is at all times? Are you just always in the heavenly realms, and how can you impart that?
Well, wow. Who's the most honest number? Probably. Probably Jedediah. But so, to be honest, I love that question. I think as a leader, I'm a 7. Okay, sorry I gave it away. Whoops. And I just want everyone to have fun. So that's a fascinating attribute as a leader, because sometimes you also have to get stuff done. And I just want everyone happy, and really. And so I would actually say though that, not to brag on myself, but honestly, I'm really proud of how I make sure that we are getting along, and connection is the point. I'm not going to obsess over task and stomp on a person. So, yay, we get stuff done, but we also actually are a family, and that's the mountain that I will die on. Yeah, right? Amen? Yeah. Almost done, Jen. That's all right. Just kidding. Him and I are probably butt heads the most, just because, like, of our personalities and different. It was actually an amazing process. I sound like such a geek, but I am, because this thing actually changed my life intensely. And so I wasn't interested at first, but now I'm like, thank God. Because now I know, I will say this before anyone else trickles out, if you leave with today, it is truly that we all do a lot of things that we feel powerless to. Like, I can't tell why I'm still doing this and I am this way, and I don't want to do that thing, right? Can I get an amen? Yeah, amen, I love you. And this has really, the guy that actually, what's the word? He consulted us on the Enneagram. His name's Brad Everett. He's not with us today, but he's awesome, and he's in the program, so you can follow him on Instagram and stuff. But he basically revealed to us kind of the point is that you would see what your default like coping mechanisms have been, and you would kind of go, yeah, I do always cycle in that thing, and I feel powerless to it. Like, I actually don't know how to get out of it. But to realize that we are designed to be way bigger than our defense mechanisms from childhood, or anything that we've inclined ourselves to avoid pain in any way. We actually are still bigger than that thing, and we can actually draw from every single type, because we're actually made in a beautiful image, right? And we actually have access to the perfect creation of who God made us to be. So I am stoked about how I feel endless potential within myself now, as well as all the people around me, and I don't ever have to feel like Nathan is stuck in his 3-ness and like, oh, he just is that way, or Lisa, or whatever. Or myself. I'm like, oh, we're bigger than this. And that causes work to happen way better, and we get to be friends, and we get to love each other through the process. So I think that might be the answer. Okay, great, guys, thanks so much for coming.
All right, give it up one more time for Ready to Dance Company. We want to ask you to help the Cascade Theater by picking up your belongings and slowly making your way outside. We went a little over, so that would help us greatly. And if you have any more questions for them, you want to connect with them, we have an after party tonight at Woody's. We'll probably start around 9 o'clock, so you're more than welcome to come there and ask them any other questions that you still have. So thank you so much for coming, and thank you for asking these amazing questions.